Hey, folks. It's the guys from the Daily Line, Tim Murray, Michael Jenkins, and Jenks. It is finally here.
Finally.
The Final Four comes Saturday night in Minneapolis. 2 games, Auburn-UVA, followed by Michigan State, Texas Tech. And if you had taken the under on total number of number 1 seeds to reach the Final Four, well, good on you, because that was set at 1.5, and UVA is the only number 1 seed to be playing Auburn, the highest seed at 5. Maybe the biggest surprise to be in Minneapolis, but UVA might be the most fortunate one to be at the Final Four because of their miraculous game against Purdue to force overtime, the Diakite shot, the pass from Clark, the tip out, all that went into it. So UVA sitting as a 5.5-point favorite, and this one right now, Jenks, looks like the square dog. Auburn is getting all of the money. They have played very well.
Yeah.
They beat Kentucky in overtime. They throttled North Carolina and Kansas. So think about the 3 blue bloods that Auburn was able to get through. People do forget that Auburn, very fortunate to be here because of the New Mexico State game, but people believe that UVA, a team that was lucky to beat Purdue, is not going to be able to cover the 5.5 because of their pace of play and because recency bias. Look what Auburn has done lately, and look what UVA has done.
Well, I think this is a perfect spot to bet Virginia. I love Virginia in this spot, and I understand I don't want to say the obsession with Auburn, but the recency bias, as you mentioned, right? But they're going to miss Chuma Okeke, and Virginia, I still don't think has played its best game yet. Now, they needed everything and more against Purdue, but now that they've gotten over that mental hurdle and they beat Purdue in the way that they did, I think we're going to see the Virginia team that we've seen all season long. They come in here, the public is all on Auburn, and Virginia is going to play that clamp-down defense and really punish Auburn. I think, I don't want to say a blowout, but I think we could see a very convincing Virginia win. And I have to say now that, there were those mental hurdles that Virginia had to get over. Even early on against Gardner-Webb, they were down, and we thought, oh, here we go again. They got past that. Now they're in the Final Four. All of what happened last year is behind them. Now they're in the Final Four. Those demons have been exorcised. Virginia can play the type of game we saw from them all season when they were arguably the best team in the country. I think they showed against Auburn. I think they cover the 5.5.
I agree with you, and it's not just because I'm a contrarian bettor, which I am. I love fading the public, but there are reasons to go with UVA. Auburn is a team that wants to turn you over. They have 17.5 turnovers per game. They get out, they run, they love to shoot the 3. UVA is number 1 in the country in turnovers per game at 9.1. So they do not turn the ball over. So is Auburn going to be able to get out and run, get into the style of play that they want if they can't turn UVA over? Also, Auburn loves to shoot the 3. And yes, Carson Edwards went 10 of 19, and that is sitting there in everybody's mind. But when you look at the statistic for UVA at the defending the 3-pointer through the second round of the NCAA tournament was at 27.8%. So Jared Harper and Bryce Brown both combined for 50 points against Kentucky. They are a tremendous backcourt, but you mentioned it. Chuma Okeke is obviously not there. He had 20 points against North Carolina before suffering that torn ACL. So is Auburn going to be able to get second chance opportunities with no Okeke down low? And Kyle Guy finally broke out of his slump in the second half against Purdue. He went 0 for 10 against Oklahoma in the second round from 3, 2 for 11 against Oregon from the second round. And I also tend to agree with you that we're waiting for UVA to get to the level that we know they can play at. And also DeAndre Hunter, who I thought played pretty well defensively on Carson Edwards, as good as you could do when you've got a guy on a heat check like that. But he offensively, in the last 3 games in the NCAA tournament, 10, 11, and 10. Those were his point totals. It's a guy averaging about 15 points per game. And I think DeAndre Hunter has a big game. I expect Kyle Guy to carry that over. I really like UVA in this spot, minus the 5.5. Another bet I like about this game is the under in the first half. Now, The under for the game at 131 makes me a little bit nervous just because you never know fouls at the end of the game, how this one's going to end. But a feeling out process in the first half, under 60.5. Remember, of the 353 teams in Division I basketball, UVA is 353 in tempo.
Well, this is the key, is that against UNC, against Kentucky, Auburn was able to – remember, we thought Auburn was crazy when Bruce Pearl said, hey, we're going to run with Carolina, bet the over. And he was right.
Yep.
If you bet the over, despite the fact that everyone was on the over, it hit because Bruce Pearl decided, you know what, we're going to play your game. We're going to run. So that played right into their hands because they're so athletic with their guards. Virginia will not allow that to happen. Virginia will dictate the pace. They will slow down Auburn, and that will cause Auburn to get out of sync, and that's why I think Virginia wins.
The last 3 games for Virginia, the halftime total, 59, 52, and 53. Now, if you aren't ready to bite the bullet on 5.5 points, you think that's too much, Jenks, and the money line value is not there, look at in-game betting on this one.
Mm-hmm.
As the game goes on, you look at how that game's playing out. Maybe that line just creeps down a little bit more to make you a bit more comfortable at 3.5. Maybe Auburn starts hot, and look, they started hot, but UVA can come in and control this game, like you said. So I think in-game betting might be a way to go because I know a lot of people are a little worried about Virginia covering the 5.5 instead of and don't want to take the money line right up. Second game, you got Michigan State, you got Texas Tech, 2 great defensive teams. Texas Tech, number 1 in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency, according to Ken Pom. They held Buffalo in the second round, Jenks, a prolific scoring team, to just 58 points. That was a season low. Held Michigan in the Sweet 16 to a season low 44 points. And they held Gonzaga to 69 points. That was the number 1 offensive team in the country. This Texas Tech team doesn't mess around. Mm-hmm. Michigan State, they are as tough as it comes. And you saw that in the Elite 8 against Duke. They will bang down low. They can make clutch shots. They've got a great backcourt with Cassius Winston leading the way. I don't have a play at plus 2.5. I really don't have a great feel of this game. I feel like it could go either way. To me, I'm going back to the first half. Over under 61.5. Jenks, I'm playing the under here. I think it could be another slow it down first half, 29-27 type going into the locker rooms. And I think it might be a little bit overblown, but so many people talk about it. You go from an arena to playing in a football stadium. Your vantage point is all a little bit out of whack. I feel like just the way these two teams might want to feel each other out, a 29-28 first half might be the way you see it happening. So I like the under 61.5 in the first half.
A prop I like is Jarrett Culver, his points in this game. The over-under is set at 20.5. Mm-hmm. Now, he's averaged just over 18 in the past 10, but you mentioned it. When you've got 2 very defensive-minded teams and a team in Michigan State that plays great defense, one of the better defensive teams in the country, I think they come out and I think they try and force someone other than Jarrett Culver to beat them. I know I certainly would because he is the offensive talent on that team. So it may be close, but I like the under if you're betting his point total.
Now, a couple little nuggets. John Campbell over at OddsShark. Since 1996, there really is no trend one way or the other. Favorites, believe it or not, 22, 22, and 2.
Vegas, man.
So I got nothing. But for me, Jenks, I'm going UVA minus the 5.5, under 60.5 in the first half, Auburn UVA, under 61.5 first half, Michigan State, Texas Tech.
And one more for you. If you look at the most outstanding player odds, you've got you've got Cassius Winston and Kyle Guy both sitting at plus 250. I like Kyle Guy because of the way he came alive against Purdue, and I also think that if you're looking at both of these matchups, I don't have a good feel on Texas Tech, Michigan State, but I have much more confidence in Virginia to advance. If that happens, you're going to have more value on Kyle Guy possibly getting that MOP award. So I like Kyle Guy plus 250 as your most outstanding player.
There you have it. Enjoy the game, folks.